With World of Sport returning to ITV for the first time in 30 years, British wrestling is once again back on TV. But a lot's changed since the days of Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks. I'm going to be travelling to local wrestling company WAW in Norwich, looking at how exactly things have changed over the last 30 years. I'll also be training to become a wrestler for 6 weeks. I'll be training under WAW's head trainer Zach Knight, member of the esteemed Knight family, ahead of a match in Cromer Carnival.
Everything we do today in this next 3 hours, you're going to feel the impact. Nice. You're going to feel parts of your body you didn't even know exist. You're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to roll out of bed. There's not going to be any spring in your step. You're going to feel it. Wrestling is a very intense, whatever you want to call it, whether it's a sport, entertainment, illusion, art, whatever you decide you want to call professional wrestling, whatever it is, it's 100% real when it comes to training, okay? Nice. Yeah, there you go. There we go.
Okay.
Up we get. Stand up a second, mate. We do get injured. That is a fact. Over this next 6 weeks, from nothing to become a professional wrestler with a match at the end, I'm telling you, we might get niggling injuries. But as a pro, we fight through it. I started when I was 10 years old. Someone got caught in traffic and my dad said to the promoter, my son's here, he's got his gear, you know, he's normally the valet or the manager to dunk the clown at the time, put the lad in. So I was in an 8-man tag team match at the age of 10 and I was knocked out in 4 minutes.
Literally knocked out?
Legit knocked out. The guy done a leg drop off the top rope and as it come down on my chest, the rebound of the ring hit the back of my head and just knocked me clean out.
Wow, okay.
British wrestling, I believe, is a stronghold in itself. You know, every single style of wrestling, whether it's Japanese or American or Greco-Roman, whatever, it all stems from the traditional British style of wrestling. Now, even though we've evolved and people don't want to see rounds or, you know, old men holding a certain move for 5 minutes and wasting around and stuff, they're still intrigued by how they made it look so real. You ask anyone over 35 about British wrestling, they'll say to you, that's when it was real on TV at World of Sport. You know, it's a style in itself. The way that we control the moves, hold the moves, everything we teach people, you know, is designed to hurt. You know, a standard pig's foot or a wrist lock in wrestling can still take you down and break your wrist if applied right. Too many people try and adapt to the American style or the Japanese style because that was what was on top once upon a time. But, you know, British wrestling is now rising. People like Davey Boy Smith, you know, Owen and Bret Hart, all the people that have been the top of WWE started in British wrestling. This is the lad that I work with. This is Marcus.
Hey, man.
Marcus come to me with a lot of problems. He was under doctors. He'd been kicked out of all the schools. He had anger problems, disabilities, and they basically said to me, "He'll never be a wrestler." Now I've trained him, and he's my academy champion.
Right.
So he's doing really, really well. So at the minute, on a Tuesday, I work with him. So I teach him a bit about life and life skills, and we do some wrestling training anyway. So the fact that you're here, any bumps that you need to take or be shown, he's going to do it for me.
I'm like a superhero because I can be like who I want to be. Like I watch like old comic books and all that, like from DC superheroes to Marvel heroes. Sometimes I love Power Rangers because they're like colorful and all that. And then that's when I start, maybe that can be my gimmick. Because every time I get in the ring, on the top rope, slam my fist into the middle of the ring, that makes everyone knows like he's a superhero. When I got kicked out of college, I was like, there was nothing else I can do, just trying to figure out the wrestle. So my mom had worked with government people to talk to me, what can we do? So that's when he started talking to my good friend Zach. That's when he was saying, she said to him, Zach, can you come help my son to be his carer and all that? And Zach happily agreed to do it, to show me the right way and all that, because he treated me so good. He was like a second dad to me. Ricky, he's like a really good granddad to me. He's like a good granddad. For me, it's like I'm home in WAW. Because all these nice wrestlers are so kind to me, and I just thought, I keep saying to Mum, WAW is like a new family of mine, a second family. But sometimes I just love to say, I just want to live here, just build a house in the middle of this ring and just stay there. But it's really beautiful here, and I love it.
And these kids prove one thing. You know, whatever you're given in life, you can either sit and sulk about it, or you can go out and do something about it. And these kids put it in every week down at WW Gym, and they give you a fantastic display of wrestling tonight.
After the success of training people like Marcus with learning difficulties to become wrestlers, Ricky Knight added that other companies are now looking to replicate the work done at WAW. While this is something for the future, it shows that British wrestling is opening up to a bigger and bigger diversity of people. One area where wrestling has already undergone a dramatic change is in the women's division. After 28 years in the business, Soraya Knight continues to wrestle and train the stars of the future, including her daughter, now known as Paige, in WWE. Soraya is currently head of Bellatrix, a women's wrestling company and sister to WAW.
There was female moves and male moves when I first started in the business, and I changed that because I got taught by men. So, you know, I didn't get taught the female way to wrestle. I got taught the male way to wrestle. I got taught shoot moves. I got taught how to look after myself because I was very slight. So, you know, if I got in the ring, I had to make sure that the girls realised that I weren't going to be messed with. So I do believe that the aggressiveness of female wrestling is what has changed. The girls now, they're not doing the pussyfoot sort of TNA style. They're going in there and they're kicking the temples of shit out of each other. And there's nothing better than seeing two girls go at it. And I generally do not believe that apart from the clothes that we wear, there's no difference between me and you, because I can mess you up just as much as you can mess me up. There's intergender matches. I mean, I wrestled Joey Ryan not so long back. The lines now are blurred. It's a wrestler in their own right, male or female. Intergender now is starting to really pick up. So for a woman to be classed in the same category as a man, not in the same league, the same category, means that we can do anything that we want to do. Yeah, but the girls now, I feel, have got a larger audience. We've got a larger stage, even though there's not very many female companies around the world. People are realising that the way forward is women's wrestling, and people have taken the women more seriously. I think female wrestling now is probably the best it's ever been.
One of the biggest developments in wrestling since World of Sport left TV screens is the worldwide expansion of American wrestling company WWE. With a global platform and the ability to lure talent with big money contracts, WWE has been able to attract talent away from independent companies across Britain, leaving questions as to how much room is left for competition. I went to Newcastle to speak to Adam Pacitti, an online personality who has helped amass over 1 million YouTube subscribers, talking all things wrestling as part of What Culture and now Cultaholic.
When you talk about wrestling to a British audience, people who grew up with that, they talk about Big Daddy, they talk about Kendo Nagasaki, they talk about Giant Haystacks. They don't talk about the people that perhaps you and I would talk about. We would go to Rock, Austin, Triple H, all those kind of guys. There's still a fan base there, and I think with WWE's distribution in the UK, it can be quite difficult for UK audiences to catch up with what WWE are doing. If you don't have Sky, you're probably unfamiliar with a lot of what WWE do. So a time slot like they've got on Saturdays on ITV, I think it's a tremendous opportunity for wrestling to be prevalent in the UK and reflective of how brilliant the UK scene is at the moment.
Is there room for British independent companies to flourish with WWE in the midst, kind of tapping up a lot of talent?
Yes, there definitely is, but it's going to be interesting to see, if you're not with WWE, how easy it will be to succeed. Because if you're not with one of the big boys, and that could be WWE and ITV, if you're not with one of them, who's, you know, any wrestler would take an ITV or a WWE contract like that because it's guaranteed money. So that creates a new problem for UK independent companies who aren't affiliated with one of those two companies.
If you're not under contract for a large wrestling company, you're working the independent scene, often transitioning between smaller companies. While wrestlers in the past would share tapes to build a reputation, modern wrestlers have more capacity to treat themselves as a brand. Sledge, a wrestler based in California, has been spending this summer performing for WAW and told me about the importance of self-marketing for the modern wrestler.
If you don't look at wrestling like a business, then it's not going to be a business to you. As in like your merchandise, as in branding yourself, your social media, so on and so forth, then I don't want to say you'll never make it, but it's going to be 10 times harder for you to make it a living in wrestling. I've seen a lot of bad wrestlers get shots that good wrestlers should have gotten.
Yeah.
Due to not marketing themselves right. You know, if you're down to take a hot dog and a handshake, all you're doing is making it harder for guys like me who actually make this look like into a business to get a job. So.
With the commonly perceived bravado and masculinity associated with wrestling, one of the issues, of course, is making sure that people in the LGBT community feel that they also have a place. Wrestling has a wealth of characters, and there's also people such as Goldust and even drag wrestlers who exist today. But some people have also had a hard time coming out. In WWE, the first active wrestler to publicly state that he was gay was Darren Young, and that was only 5 years ago. I spoke to Callum Thompson, who said that he felt more comfortable coming out as gay after his experience in wrestling.
One thing that kind of made me wait out so long to start was my sexuality. You look at it and you see all these strong, masculine looking men, and then a gay guy comes in and it's like, you ain't going to be accepted. So I guess that's one reason it put me off so long. But then I remember watching a show in Yarmouth, and it was Marco Marinelli versus a drag queen called Priscilla, and the crowd was so behind Priscilla, and I'm like, I could actually do this. So skip ahead a year, and I stayed at Sweet Eyes, and she kind of just spoke to me, just talking about some other guys and their experiences, and I kind of said, yeah, I'm gay. And she's looked at me in the way she always does, and just looked at me and just gone, I knew when you were about 4. So after that, being around some other people, knowing their kind of stories, I opened up more. I became myself around the wrestlers, and then I found I took that into my everyday life, and I just gained so much more confidence. I found a partner, like the first time I found a partner, I found a full-time job, musical theatre then erupted because I was comfortable in every aspect of my life. So being around the wrestling made me comfortable being me. Everyone is so accepting here because we come from all sorts of backgrounds. We've got people who come from rough backgrounds who come here to get better. We've got people who hate parts of themselves who can come here and battle it and then love themselves. It's one of the reasons I started wearing the rainbow laces when I wrestle. I wanted to show my support and accept it for myself, and it show the world that it's okay. You can do what you want, it doesn't matter, no one actually cares anymore.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is his debut in a wrestling ring, Edward Bingham!
The WAW fans are really invested in everything you do. I was expecting to walk out to crickets and got a better reception than I could have imagined. The buzz from walking down the aisle and getting cheered carried me through the match, and you can sense how wrestlers are able to finish matches injured. With adrenaline, all the moves that left me sore in training felt like nothing during the performance. During my time at WAW, I noticed that while many things in the British wrestling industry have changed, a lot of the same problems have persisted. Zach told me that out of 100 wrestlers, he believes only 5 or 6 would be likely to make a full-time living, and while I have a month to nurse my sore knee, those same wrestlers would likely be wrestling over 200 shows a year. However, one of the great aspects of British wrestling is its timelessness. In preparation for my match at Chroma, Axel Lynch choreographed the match between Jaden and I, basing it off of a match between Johnny Saint and Kid McCoy from the 1980s. What was great about that was that it showed that even though the match is old, you can still find a way to get a great reaction from a crowd, basing your moves off of an old blueprint from over 30 years ago.